In mid-June, a group of militant Islamic extremists launched a coordinated assault across northern Iraq, seizing large territories including major towns and cities. Iraqi forces, in the face of the onslaught, were able to do very little in defense of their country. As a result, Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki publicly appealed to the United States and the international community for assistance in the fight against the organization known as ISIS. ISIS derives from the group's primary objective, which is to establish a Sunni Islamic caliphate in the lands of northern Iraq and Syria. Prior to their recent activity in Iraq, ISIS has been heavily involved in the ongoing Syrian civil war, battling Syrian government forces to obtain territory for the foundation of their Islamic State. ISIS has already had an overwhelming effect on regional security. Their involvement in Syria has elongated the ongoing conflict there and added another layer of complexity to the dynamic of parties fighting to overthrow President Bashar al-Assad's regime. ISIS advances have given Iran a legitimate reason to become militarily active in the region by supplying hardware to Iraq. Iran has additionally made it clear to the Iraqi government that it is willing to do more to aid its neighbor. In this conflict, ISIS's actions have real consequences for U.S. foreign policy, both in the near and long-term future. Since ISIS began advancing across Iraq, the United States has announced 2 separate deployments of military personnel to the country for the protection of embassy staff and assessment of the state of Iraqi security forces. As President Barack Obama follows up on this issue in his press conference, he discusses the solution that has been lingering from this contemporary problem.
With a new Iraqi government in place and following consultations with allies abroad and Congress at home, I can announce that America will lead a broad coalition to roll back this terrorist threat. Our objective is clear. We will degrade and ultimately destroy ISIL through a comprehensive and sustained counterterrorism strategy. First, we will conduct a systematic campaign of airstrikes against these terrorists. Working with the Iraqi government, we will expand our efforts beyond protecting our own people and humanitarian missions so that we're hitting ISIL targets as Iraqi forces go on offense. Moreover, I've made it clear that we will hunt down terrorists who threaten our country wherever they are. That means I will not hesitate to take action against ISIL in Syria as well as Iraq.
In terms of international relations, the ancient philosophy of the Islamic State and its transformation into a cross-border entity is not reconcilable with the state system upon which most international relations theory is constructed. Considering the group's cruelty, we tend to become distracted by its propaganda and intent to spread fear, but another core matter of concern is that this element is becoming the first modern transitional movement with a home base that is devotedly determined to retain. This makes the entity unwilling to negotiate with the international system or act as a rational actor in anything resembling how international relations practitioners are accustomed to framing interstate affairs. Even though this contemporary issue does not directly fall under the theory of realism, it is the closest thing to a representative theory in international relations. According to realism, states work only to increase their own power relative to that of other states. A state's primary interest is self-preservation and protection, so if one of their citizens is affected, the entire country is affected. This is shown in the ISIS situation because 2 innocent media reporters were killed because of this militant organization, and the United States believes that we need to take a stand on this issue. This theory of realism represents this situation as we are to seek power and always protect ourselves as a country. I agree with President Obama in the fact that American involvement is important in leading a broad coalition to degrade this terrorist organization. We should continue to stop this militant organization and eradicate them and their powers. As Ed Hussein states in his New York Times article entitled "A Military Campaign Alone is Not the Solution to ISIS," American leadership is needed to show the Middle East how a better future can be attained through political unity, religious pluralism, and free market capitalism. The contemporary issue of the militant organization of ISIS in international relations proves to be affecting many states around the world and solutions are in place to solve this lingering problem.